right, so we are live as far as I can tell. Just let me mute myself real quick, make sure all the audio is coming through. Can you say some stuff for me, Kandor, so I can hear you on stream?
We are going to be reviewing whatever this movie's called, the Turning Red by Disney slash Pixar. Today, what an exciting film! Quite divisive. How's the audio?
All right, we're good. I just checked it.
Okay,
We're all good.
thanks.
Okay, so I gotta remember to be looking at chat too because I fucked up my OBS and now it doesn't show me chat on OBS itself, so I had to have it up on my phone. And sometimes I just forget and start doing
Ah,
other shit, and I'm like, oh fuck, I had to look at chat.
shit. Hey, I'll look. I'll keep an eye out too, just in case.
All right, just gotta get to the place where I can start the recording bots. Yo, new Trash Rats just dropped. I know what I'm doing after this.
Oh shit! Definitely not watching that.
Too much of a reactor, a little bit too much for you.
No, yeah, look, the whole crew's a little too much in that context for me lately, but I'm very happy that they got the whole gang together. That's what's important.
All right, let me start the recording bots and then we'll start the podcast proper.
Sounds like a plan.
Now recording.
Is that
Hell,
Craig or is it Griak?
it's both. It's both of
Sorry,
them.
go.
Good. Hey
My
everybody,
bad. Go for it.
welcome to the Riely Live Movie Review Podcast, Episode 2. I am your host, Riely, joined today by a special guest. You probably don't know him or love him, but hopefully you will soon. RandomKandor.
Hello, everybody here at the Riley Streams, Riley and Friends show. It's very nice to be here. Big fan of Riley, solid dude, and let us talk about this amazing work of fiction. Possibly, I think it might be real, based on a true story. But let's
Oh,
get
is this
into it.
based on a true story? Did this happen?
Yeah, well, I'm Canadian. You don't know about our culture. There's many such cases.
Pixar is known for its documentary films, I think.
It's true. I loved Nemo most.
Yeah, that was a really good undersea documentary.
Yeah, P. Sherman is still seething.
So, folks, we're talking about the new Pixar release, Turning Red, and I will actually do the summary this time because I'm not going to be a lazy fuck and make my guest do it again. So,
Thank God.
Turning Red is a film where a young girl of Chinese heritage named Mei Mei, who lives in Chinatown, Canada. This exists, correct? There is a
Yeah, well,
Chinatown in
okay. So
Canada.
we don't have a single Chinatown for all of Canada, Riley. We actually are a country, but in Toronto, there is a
Okay. There's a
there is
Chinatown in
a Chinatown
Toronto. Got
area,
it.
and I guess like she has like some temple that's in that area. But yeah, it's definitely all feasible, all above board.
Okay, so yeah, they live in Chinatown in Canada with her strict mother and her mild mannered father, and she has these three eccentric girlfriends at school, and they're 13. They're all coming of age. They're getting into boys. They're getting into hip hop music, and the movie is sort of a coming of age story. But the twist is that Mei Mei has this secret spiritual thing that runs down her blood from generation to generation, where when experiencing strong emotion, she turns into a red panda, and the movie is about her dealing with that fact whilst coming of age and stuff, and also she's preparing for this big ritual to get the red panda spirit out, and she starts hustling the panda for money. It's all this fun little movie.
Her words. Her words.
Yes, her words. Uh, Not a
And
bad
I could
way.
also I could also confirm. I think in the states they have something called the period fairy. Here in Canada, we do have the red panda. So it's all canon.
It's all canon. Hello, here's underscore John Cena. So just to explain how the chat worked, because we literally had no chat last time, so I didn't get to explain my thought
I'm
process of
so
approaching
influential.
chat. Is I'm not gonna read literally everything in chat because that would make the podcast unlistenable. But if I see something interesting about the movie or like a question I want to answer in general, I will attribute it to who said it, and I will say it, and we'll talk about it.
There we go.
So there you go. So, yeah, that's basically what the movie's about. Let's start talking about our opinions on this movie now. I already have sort of a general idea of how Kandor feels about this film because I logged into
True.
Twitter.com earlier, and I see that you said it was, quote, hard to get through. So why don't you tell us why?
Okay. To be fair, I sent that tweet maybe 5 minutes through the movie, and I don't know if you agree. The first 5 minutes were fucking rough. The first 5 minutes were
Mm,
rough as a
yeah,
motherfucker.
there was some charming parts, but most of it was rough.
It was like I don't doubt there are definitely some laugh out loud moments in this movie, partially because of the cringe, but and the fact that I was drawing parallels to my girlfriend who is Chinese Canadian and has a similar dynamic with her mother about it. But it was fucking rough, man. The first 5 minutes were like it made it seem like okay, Twitter actually does know what this movie is, and it was encapsulated, and maybe I should just give up right here. But your obligation to the stream tonight carried me through.
That is more than fair. You see, for me, when I came into this film, right, I was expecting it to be terrible because everything I've heard about it pointed to it being terrible.
Hmm.
But I was oddly charmed. I came to really love this film as I continued to watch it.
Oh, that's strong wording.
I do. I think I love this film. I think this might be. I have not seen a lot of Pixar. There are many,
Oh
many
my
Pixar movies I
god.
have not seen, but
Be
I think
careful. Be
this
careful with
is
your next words, Riley.
I think this is one of my favorite Pixar movies. I had a really good
How could
time with
you?
it. I don't know what everybody's so uppity about. Kandor, why don't you give me sort of your rundown of why you think this does not rank among the Pixar greats?
Okay, so we'll get into some of the specifics kind of as we go through the narrative of the movie and like different scenes and things like that. But overall, like it is very much kind of on the nose for their like 13-year-old audience. So of course I don't really fault them for that. And having like a lot of like cringy kind of elements that are realistic to 13-year-old life, at least I know of, and probably even more realistic to a 13-year-old girl life at the time. But the character is just very unlikable to me, to be honest.
You didn't like Mei?
Absolutely not. Like the first 5 minutes, she's just like this, like literally annoying. The teacher calls her annoying, like goody two shoes, fucking snitch type of person that I would definitely not vibe with in that same setting. But then, yeah, her duality with like juggling social life and her duty to her mom, who's basically all the mom has going for her. I can realize that's a pretty resonant theme. But she sells out her friends later on without a fucking like second thought, which is definitely not an admirable character trait, and I would argue is not redeemed by the end of the movie. But what do you think about those harps?
So I guess I understand where you're coming from, but I think what you find annoying, I kind of find charming. Like I could put myself in a sort of mindset where I'm like, oh, I'm watching cringy 13-year-olds, and I'm just gonna have fun with it. And I think this movie was a pretty accurate depiction of cringy 13-year-old girls, if I remember my middle school experience correctly.
Do you remember those type of girls back when you were in middle school?
I do remember girls that acted
And
very
did
similarly to
you
these
like those
ones.
people? Did you
Yeah,
like those people?
yeah, I did.
Oh my
I vibed with
god.
them.
Maybe we were just different social circles, different uh vibes at that time. I was more of the evil guy in the actually my girlfriend was saying that like that I was very much like that what like Hispanic fucking Nelly Band-Aid rocking guy.
Wait, are you talking about which
Tyler, yeah.
Tyler? Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you had a mean exterior, but inside you were just like the others, and that
I
was
wouldn't even
Tyler's
say
arc
he's
throughout the
mean.
film.
He was also just calling her out for appropriately for being very cringe and snitching, and I think he called her a narc at one point too. And one hilarious part in the first 5 minutes was he called her a narc, and then she was like, "Oh, I accept all of those labels." I thought that was actually
Yeah,
really
that was
funny.
really
That
that
was
was a
really
laugh out
funny.
loud moment for me.
Yeah, 100%. Where what would you give this movie out of 10 right now in this
We
recency bias?
okay, so
Or
we
actually no, for your formatting, if we do that later, then
yeah,
no
yeah, no.
sweat.
My format is at the end of the once we're done with everything else, we say our favorite character, favorite scene, and we rate it out of 10.
Ah, okay. I get you.
So but yeah, I think there were a lot of really funny scenes in this film. I love that the first act had an unreasonable amount of period jokes for a Pixar movie, I think, and that was
Yeah,
really amusing.
it was almost like I guess the female version of like the Spider-Man one, like whenever he's doing the webs and shit, and then Aunt May's trying to come in, and then there's a overt joke about like him just jizzing everywhere and like discovering
The web is
masturbation.
cum,
It's like the
yeah.
female equivalent. Yeah, I like that. That was cute.
uh,
I I also think there's another analogy here. I think the kind of normie or the first like filter is okay. Yeah, period. Growing up, becoming your own person, separating yourself from your family, exploring social life, stuff like that, romance. But another one is mental illness. Like I think this is a big parable or analogy to like a first psychotic or manic episode, or like even just like borderline personality disorder with like suicidal thoughts. Like at one point, whenever they discover her transforming into this red fox or red panda, they take away her bed frame. They lock her in the room and stuff like that. That is very akin to like a mental health admission. So that was quite
oh,
interesting. And they're talking about like you have to control your emotions. You have to keep the monster inside. All this kind of things. There's an element
yeah,
of
that
that
is
that's
a
for
really
sure.
interesting parallel that you bring up, Kandor. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it was like I was wondering, like, what the hell? Like a lot of stuff, like the bed taking away the bed frame. That's very on the nose for like a mental health thing.
But did they take her shoelaces away? That was no.
She was in pajamas. I can't say for sure, but
She
yeah,
wasn't wearing shoes, but if she was, I don't think she
It-
would have been able to keep the
that's right.
shoelaces.
That's correct.
I love that I got that confirmed that was real. I always thought that was like an urban legend because like there are a lot of things you hear of as like fact that sound too stupid to be true, and then if you do research,
Hmm.
it turns out they are in fact too stupid to be true. But no, the shoelace thing is
Yeah,
real because
shoelace thing is real, and there 100% have been actual like successful or
shoelace
completed suicides.
suicides.
Exactly. And the same thing with actually, funnily enough, masks. So some of them have those little metal things that cover, like help you adjust to the bridge of your nose. So people have like taken those out and cut themselves or stuff like that.
Ah!
But
Oh
in modern
no!
times, they remove those metal things from the mask prior to giving them back.
Damn shit.
The more you know.
You know, I found out about the shoelace thing because Demi got institutionalized recently. That is public, by the way. I'm not doxing her Candor.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
she got institutionalized recently, and she told me, yeah, they did take her shoelaces. It's really funny.
Hmm. It's true. How can you keep those checkerboard Vans well fitting?
All right, but other things about this film we want to talk about. Particular scenes, any of them stand out to you that you want to have a discussion about?
Yeah, well, I guess just wrapping up kind of what I was talking about the mental health themes too. Like they were talking
Mm.
about, she comes back to her friends and she's saying, there's this thing that like runs in my family. Like, oh shit. And then also like, the mom ends up having her own internal monster that she like unveils and has her own like issues with her own mom and like sees parallels, and that's why she's so protective of her daughter because of how it worked out with the mom and the grandma, and her wanting to kind of keep that under wraps, but not telling the daughter about all that kind of stuff, which would result in more identification and more relatability between the mom and the daughter. But she has reservations about sharing that personal element of her life and her own uh, fallibility, because she wants to be that strong tiger mom figure, you know? So that's just kind of wrapping that up. And then the grandma, like knowing, this is something that's in our dynasty and we all have it. We have to uh, accept the pros and cons of individuality. And there are strengths in having something special about you, just like there are things to uh, be wary about and monitor.
Yeah, certainly. I think that is a really interesting way to look at the film. That gives me kind of a new perspective on what the writers may have had meaning behind in certain scenes and stuff. That is really interesting. I wanted to bring up something in chat. PRPV, that guy who is my good buddy Jack. Uh, there's
What's up, Jack?
a couple chats for him I want to bring up. First of all, I'll do the joke one first. We're all furries. Your great 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 grandpa fucked a red panda. Yep,
Many
that's the plot of the
cases.
film.
Many cases.
And the chat I actually wanted to speak about in some way is it also starts as a meme. It's my favorite
The Team
scene
Fortress.
was when Pyro from Team Fortress 2 air blasted the ball onto the CalArt girl's face, which brings up the sort of discussion of how people have been comparing this style of Pixar animation in the most recent film before this, Luca, and in this one, to the like Steven Universe CalArt style. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. What are your thoughts, Kandor?
So I'm not educated in all this kind of Cal art. I guess that's the studio or what?
Yeah,
Cal art?
I think it's like an art institute or something that like all these people who made these cartoons went to, and they like
Oh,
have
like maybe
similar.
California
Yeah,
Institute of the Arts or something like that.
I
Okay,
believe
well,
so.
now that you mentioned that, first off, I definitely did. I know there's the meme about all like the jelly mouth kind of or bean mouth, whatever thing, but this girl is the only one with it, right? Like the main character Mimi or Meme is the only one with that really annoying jelly bean mouth, right?
Yeah,
As
I
far
think
as
the
I could
rest of
tell.
I think all the characters are like fairly unique style wise. It just happens that the main character may share some traits with like the Cal Arts, but like I just think I don't think a Pixar animation can like be generic in that way. Like just because it happens to match up with some of the Cal Arts stereotypes does not mean that it's not a really well animated character. I think that Mei's design is really good, especially when her hair color changes. I like Mei with the red hair. I think the aesthetic is very good. I
I
really
was also
like.
wondering about go on.
I just really like Mei's character design, and I like most of the other character designs as well.
Fair enough. I did like the other character designs, and it was very cute to like, they had like the short Korean fucking like basically like Mongolian fucking barbarian character, and
The
the
girl in the
freaking
friend group that was pretty much feral for most of the movie.
yeah, yeah. I think she was definitely a source of a lot of the laugh out loud moments. And the Indian girl, as a brown guy myself, I cringed at her, but at the same time, she's pretty representative of that kind of uh, not necessarily Indian girl stereotype, but that girl stereotype of being like more dark and like cool and more subdued. And then the redhead kind of ginger braces girl was really cute too. I like that kind of dynamic of the friend group. But I do have to strongly disagree, Riley. I hated the main character design of the person. I didn't like her personality, so that might bleed through too. But that bean mouth was too annoying in a couple of sequences. It was really pronounced. One time it was used well, I think when she was like drawing like the lover animations with the the shopkeeper. That was really funny when she was like being all like devious and shit under the bed. That was used quite well. But she uh she looks, just even looking at the thumbnail that's in the stream right now, she looks a lot like that Steven Universe guy. Like I don't really watch those shows, but I just seen him make this exact pose, that exact same mouth, before, I can definitely see the parallels with her specific character, but not that it necessarily generalizes to the whole movie itself.
Yeah, I think I just don't notice as much just because Pixar 3D animation is a lot more expressive than like an episode of Steven Universe, so it's not as noticeable in this case. But I guess looking at the still image, I could understand the comparison certainly. And I did want to say the scene where she's drawing like this the fan art of this shop clerk. This is the most might be one of the most secondhand embarrassment moments I've had in a movie because when the mother like assumes that this shop clerk is like grooming
Yeah.
her and then burst into the fucking
Yeah.
store with all the drawings. It was so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
And see, that's why it was at further was more annoying because like this girl throughout the whole time could have said any single thing. Yet this is the type of person, not that she's a real person, but the type of person to let someone escalate on her behalf until it's like uncomfortable that she can't stand, and then it's like, oh well, actually no, you got the whole wrong idea. Meanwhile, this fucking shopkeeper has like 20 charges against him, and like everyone thinks he's like a pedophile and shit.
Oh no. Well, she does. She
Because that's
does.
what would happen in real life, right?
I mean, she does try to deny that part initially. Like, the mother asks her, if, like, did he do these things to you? And she immediately yells no. The mother just doesn't believe her.
Fair enough. But I still
Also,
there was a
Jack,
role for her to go on.
I just want to say, Jack, let me know in the chat if you, like, are having trouble hearing us, because I do see frames are skipping, but that's usually only visual, and this stream is a still image, so I think we're fine, but let us know if we're not.
Yeah. I guess like even just taking that first, I guess the first quarter of the movie, like it's her hanging out with her friends. They have this boy band group and they are building towards kind of seeing them in concert. And then she has this really like rough moment. What was her like kind of breaking point in the first quarter? I kind of forget. I watched this today, by the way.
I mean, I don't know what rough moment you're thinking of. I guess you might be thinking of. So they're building up the money to go see this boy band by hustling the panda
No, but
form.
I mean prior to the hustle. Like so
Oh,
her
okay.
turning into the panda, I would say is like the kind of the first arc,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess,
Yeah,
right?
that's the first breaking point is when she turns into the panda. She goes to sleep and she wakes up as a giant fucking panda, and she starts freaking the fuck out. And her mother, I think she's having her period, and that's when all the period
Yeah,
jokes start.
exactly. So but leading up to that, like what were the stressors? Is that already whenever she like went to the convenience store and all that kind of shit? Was that night why like what happened?
Yeah, I'd have to assume that's like most of why she was so emotionally distressed. So it makes sense that
Mm-hmm.
that's when the this panda that comes out when you're emotional would rear its head.
Exactly. And still holds true for like the mental illness metaphor because like a lot of the time it is that kind of like breaking point
That
in
that was
your teenage years.
that was her breaking point. She wrote about it in My
Mm-hmm.
Twisted Panda.
Yeah, it's true. She said these pandas, they will never accept me.
All
But
right.
then, so I think the initial kind of I guess 10 minutes, 15 minutes is well done in the sense of okay, you get knows this is a snot nosed fucking well to do kid, but also has this like job I guess because of her ancestry and family business of the running the temple in Toronto. So she also has to work more than like her friends do, and they're kind of resent her, being like, "Oh, she's so brainwashed by her mom. She's such a goody two shoes." Whereas we don't have to do that, which is a real thing, especially in like Toronto or other multicultural cities where you have like the white kids that are just like, "Oh, what do you mean? Like mom and dad let us play, go skateboarding and shit like that." Whereas like the fucking immigrant kids are like, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't you those kids are probably smoking weed all the time. Like just you have to go to your karate class, you have to go to your piano class, and then you come home and you study and all that kind of shit." So that struggling between those two lives is a real thing to depict, and they're good on pursuing that as a narrative.
I do remember like actual experiences like that as a kid where it would piss me off because my mother was a very like hands
Mm.
off parent where like I could kind of just go outside and like do shit pretty much
Yeah, your wife.
without limit. Yeah, exactly. Um, and it would always piss me off. Well, it was other white friends too, mostly, surprisingly enough.
Oh.
That just their parents were like super strict and like they couldn't come outside a lot, and like there were I was always just so pissed because it's like I just want to hang out with my friends, man. Let them come out, let them play. What the fuck
Mm-hmm.
that did they do to you, you motherfuckers?
Yeah, it's true. And sometimes the kids would just use that as an excuse too, and I've been guilty of that. Just be like, "Oh, my
Oh
mom won't let me,"
shit!
or something
Oh my
like
god,
that.
Kandor just retextualized
Ma-
my whole
ma-
childhood. Oh no!
but not necessarily that's always the case. But if especially if you've seen face to face, like the parents be like, "Well, no, they're not allowed," or like they just went out yesterday, so they're not allowed today. Then it's like, well, that's your style.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I'm trying to think of other. Oh, I was gonna mention. I really like. I'm a fan of like really stupid jokes. Like they get me every time, and I think I laughed really hard
Hmm.
when the whole joke about the boy band is that they're called Four Town, but there's five of them.
I only realized that at the very end. I was actually asking like my girlfriend, like, "What the fuck? Like, what?" Because like I was like, "Okay, there's those four," and then like the black main guy came out, and then he's like the fifth guy, and I was like, "What the fuck?" But then that just draws the Backstreet Boys parallel together too, which they also made homage to when they were like, "Oh, this guy is so cool," and like everyone has their favorite, and then they were like, "Oh, and these two other guys are cool too." Because every boy band has like the two people that are like ugly or like not the focus of attention.
Yeah, like these three guys are so awesome, and these other guys pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah, it was like the One Direction guys. I guess that's even after your time, but or before
Oh
your
no no
time.
no!
But
I
like,
definitely was like in middle high school when One Direction was popping.
so like One Direction would have Zayn and Harry Styles, and I guess the main guy Niall, and then the other two are kind of like those reject guys.
Yeah, I
So the
literally
same
did.
kind of
Those are the
thing.
three names that I remember. I do not remember the other members' names.
Mhm, mhm.
I actually,
Case in point.
my math teacher rickrolled a girl once using One Direction.
Cute. That math teacher was with it.
It was really funny because like it was just after they had broken up and it had been like a few months or I think it had been like
Oh,
a year or
oh
something,
shit.
and he told the girl like, "Hey, One Direction just dropped a new single," and she was
Oh my
and she was like, "What?
That's actually
Really?"
vicious. That's vicious.
Then
That's
he
actually
fucking
mean. That's
rickrolled her.
unprofessional. But she was like 16, 17 at least, right?
Yeah,
That's fair
15,
then.
16,
It's
something
like
like that.
if she's like 14, that's like abuse essentially. That's so
Oh
mean.
no. Uh-oh. That was really funny.
Sick pleasure of the teacher dashing the dreams of a young mid-pubescent girl.
Mid pubescent.
Yeah. But I think that one of the early, at least, like very Kino scenes was that the first off the drawing of like the guy and being like, oh, like all gross like perversion. Like I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, oh, she's like right before she went under the bed, I was like, she's gonna do some fucked up shit. Like I don't know why I'm watching this because I thought she was gonna fucking uh flick the bean, so to
You thought she was
speak.
gonna start jerking off in this PG Pixar movie?
And that's why, like, the parallel of the puberty thing, right? It's not just because it's girls doesn't mean it's all about menstruation. There is that element too, and the boy craziness. So I was like, what the fuck is this happening?
She gonna
Steven
start jerking off in
Universe
this
is
Pixar
real.
movie? Oh
But
no.
then, yeah. But then, yeah, it was drawing, essentially kind of the same thing, except on DeviantArt. But that was fucking hilarious. And then she fucking came in, and then she gave the tell and everything. It was cute to see, like, the parenting of like reading through the subtle cues and all that kind of stuff too. And then that escalation was hilarious. And the fucking Tyler kid being at the at the convenience store or pharmacy or whatever, and then being like, "Oh, it's her, yeah," and egging it on is the funniest shit ever. He's the best character for sure.
Yeah, I really like Tyler. Jack in the chat just said that apparently people wanted Encanto to have an incest sex scene. I don't know if that's true, Jack. I'm gonna need a source on that one.
No, people said it. No, don't worry about the source, bro. Trust me.
Yeah, source, dude, trust me.
Yeah. Come on, we're friends, right? Trust me.
But yeah, that scene was really good. I just really liked this whole movie. Like there were scenes where I cringed, obviously, but most of it was just really cute and fun. Like
Mm,
I don't get a lot of the criticism that people are giving this film. Like people are saying it's like pedo shit, which I suppose there is like
really?
a
That
lot of twerking, but like
is there
13-year-old
any?
girls twerk in real life. It's not like that's a thing that doesn't happen, and it's not sexualized.
But not in 2002. Not in 2002 though. And I think it
Does this
is
movie take
inherently
place in
sexualized, no?
2002?
Yeah, man.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, you missed that? Yeah, that's why there's no smartphones. Remember they were texting on the fucking bricks and shit like that? Yeah, man.
Okay, cuties. So Jack
And
mentioned cuties in the chat. Cuties is different because it was like
okay,
it was real little girls and it was inherently sexualized, and that was the whole point of the film.
true, but the dance of twerking is inherently sexual. Yeah, it might not be done for those reasons in that population, but it is definitely concerning. I would not be keen to have my child do that kind of shit.
Yeah, I think other than that though, the complaints weren't really warranted. I think like people were pissed that there was that Tyler wasn't like openly transgender. Like they wanted that to be the end of the film.
Oh, really? Because I thought the whole the big, I guess like SJW thing people would criticize would be the Indian girl and the goth girl being gay or like hinting at that.
Were they hinting at that?
Yeah, man. Whenever she like was talking about the music or something, or like she was doing the interpretive dance, and the goth girl god was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's totally mortality." And she's like, "Yeah," and then later on they were
Yeah.
like dancing together or something. But
Yeah.
it wasn't over the top, and it was completely reasonable.
Yeah,
But people
that's
will be mad at
nice.
anything.
But people were just like, oh, they had like this sort of awakening with Tyler at the end of the film. They should have made him openly transgender. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because all male One Direction fans are secretly
Oh shit. Uh
trying to be
oh.
women. Yeah. And they even went so far to make him like identify with that like the basketball guy at the end. Also, the boy band intros were fucking keynote too. The first the first guy is the douchebag, whatever. My girlfriend was saying that I was just like him, and then there was like a basketball sports guy, then the sensitive animal rescue guy, and then which like, I guess like the sensitive guy who was kind of like a K-pop analogy with the curtain hair and all that. He was played by Billie Eilish's brother, and Billie Eilish, I guess, like well, the duo team of her and her brother made their songs.
Wait, Billie Eilish was involved in the music of this movie?
Yeah, yeah, she created it.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Her and the brother,
That's pretty
or at
wild.
least like wrote it. Hmm.
Who like sang it? Was it anybody who's actually significant, or was it just like some the voice actors who could sing that they found?
I think it would have been yeah, exactly. Voice actors like it still has that cartoonish like boy band sound, but apparently like Billie Eilish and her brother wrote the actual music.
Wrote the music. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I really like that the mother turns into a fucking kaiju panda.
Yeah, yeah, that was the best. That was a great like little visual gag when she's like, "What you gonna do? Ground me?" And then it's just like
Yeah. They're
looming in
like,
the
what's she gonna
background.
do? Ground me? And then the fucking kaiju shows up.
See, but that actually does remind me of one of the things because every time they would do one of those ah ha 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 like jarring gags, the fucking jelly bean mouth was really jarring. Like maybe I was primed by like the backlash beforehand, but I think objectively it was bad. But Riley, do you think that are you overcompensating because of like the baseless hate that you might like this more than you would have liked it if there was no hate?
I suppose that's possible. Like, I'm not gonna give myself like a crazy amount of credit and be like, no, I would never have a biased opinion about a movie. But
Hmm.
I think it was mostly I didn't even see most of the backlash like before I had watched it. It was just like people are like, oh, this movie's bad because XXX pedo shit
Yeah.
XXX Cal Arts, and I'm like, okay, let's see what all the fuss is about. and I watched it. This is not like when I reviewed Cuties when it came out. And I like the whole bit was like I was trying to justify its existence and just like talking myself out of it the
Uh,
entire time.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
no,
just
I think going into it, I wanted to do something similar, like, to what you're saying, like, I wanted to like it because I was like, "Hey, well, like, it can't be that bad, it's Pixar." But and I still definitely liked it better than I thought, and my girlfriend thought the same thing, and it's nice to see Toronto, depicted, but it is rough that it was this movie.
I don't I mean
It
so I watched to compare it to another recent Pixar experience, which I believe is more well received, Soul, which was the Pixar movie that came out in 2020. Um,
very
I,
Kino, yeah.
a lot of people say that it's Kino, and like I went into this during like the first 30 minutes of the film. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna like this as much as Soul, but by the end, this is this is an unfortunate take to a lot of people. I think I did enjoy this more than I enjoyed Soul.
Jeez. Well, you know what? No accounting for taste. First off, and second off, that's your enjoyment of this movie, and I guess you still enjoyed Soul, but not as much as this movie. That doesn't take away from anything that I did not like about this movie or liked about Soul. Why should it matter?
Yeah, certainly. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about Soul on this show someday. But I watched it so long ago, I'd probably have to watch it again.
Soul is also like a movie that hits different like after like 25.
That's probably true. I actually the whole reason I watched Soul is just because like I was listening to a bunch of episodes of Is It Kino, and like sometimes I'll listen to Is It Kino without having seen
Hmm.
the movie. But then I looked at the Soul one. I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to. I have access to Disney Plus. I kind of want to watch it before I listen to this. So I watched Soul. So I
Hmm.
specifically so I could listen to the Is It Kino episode about it, and it ended up being pretty good. So I'm
Nice.
glad I watched it.
Yeah, like I I think Kino Corner doesn't really have much to offer to me personally, but I think that Monkey's Take was kind of on the mark, and it is
Kino Corner wasn't even there
very.
for
It's
Soul. It was him and Florian.
oh, it was old. Shit.
It wasn't
Well,
old,
that was just
old. It
like a
was like a
statement of
year
school.
ago,
True.
and Florian was still on the show.
Yeah, but it was like maybe it was phasing in and out. But the yeah no. Uh, it's I think it's wild to have in a purported kids movie. It wasn't really a kids movie, but the fact that like sometimes you have accomplished enough in life to move on. Like that's fucking dark and cerebral.
Yeah, the Soul was dark as fuck. Yeah, that was it definitely had some dark themes, which is why I'm kind of a guy who goes into movies for fun. Like I can get into like a dramatic
Hmm.
movie and like have a really good time with it, but at the end of the day, if a movie provides me just like a really fun time, I'm probably going to hold it in a more positive regard generally. And I think that's mostly my comparison with Turning
Hmm.
Red and Soul here, where it's like, yeah, Turning Red was just really fun and like I had a smile on my face the whole time. So I kind of hold it in higher
Yeah,
regard.
but you didn't know about the mental health parallels. That
That's true. All of these movies have
makes it
their
quite
crazy
darker.
dark parallels. Yeah, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
but with Soul, it was much more
With
outward.
Soul, that's right. But Soul was, in a way, very similar to Wreck-It Ralph, with that little pixie girl virus being the new Soul, and then old, like Wreck-It Ralph being like, all right, I'm not gonna, or I'm willing to sacrifice myself for this, like, little demon that's misunderstood, blah, 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 to finally get their role. You feel?
I do feel, man, I haven't seen Wreck It Ralph since it was out in theaters. It's been a long time.
I think I only watched it the one time, too. People were talking about the sequel recently, but haven't seen that.
I have not seen Ralph Breaks the Internet at all, and I'm scared that it's gonna be completely fucking cringe garbage.
But you never know.
It
That's
could it
just
could be
the
great.
Twitterati. Yeah.
I know they like make fun of memes and shit, so it's like, oh god, this is Pixar trying to tackle the internet and memes and social media, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, 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 I don't want to watch
It's
this.
a new age. Yeah, yeah. Why
This
are
is
you
just
doing this?
Pixar's version of the
Explain
Emoji Movie. Oh no.
it. Yeah. which I still haven't seen either.
I have not watched the Emoji Movie either. Yeah, that's true. Maybe for this show, maybe that'll be when I finally pop my Emoji Movie cherry. I'll get like one of my friends and we'll meme on
Oh,
Emoji Movie for an hour.
press X in the chat if you want to see emoji movie review on
Yes,
Riley
press X in
Stream.
the chat for Emoji Movie review. But yeah, the kaiju fight was pretty funny. The I liked the whole spirit realm thing where they separate for the panda spirits. Um, this movie had a lot of cool shit in it. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Are there any scenes that you haven't mentioned yet that you can think of as particularly being like cringe or bad that you like kind of didn't enjoy?
The ones we were talking about looking before were the main issues. Oh, Greg's wants to see that review.
Hell yeah. But anyway, continue, Kendor.
But those are the main gripes I've had with it. Um, I think overall it's a
It's a solid.
solid movie. Like I guess just not my demographic again, but
Nah.
that doesn't excuse everything. I would just say
Yeah, certainly. I
it's
understand.
like a 6 out of 10 for me.
It's like that review on Twitter that got really memed where somebody like did a little Twitter review of Turning Red and they're like, this movie was made for a very particular audience. If you're part of this audience, it might work for you. It did not work for me. And people kept like copy pasting it and attaching it to different Pixar movies. It was really funny. But anyway, unless there's any other particular stuff we want to talk about, give me one moment. Oh, I guess we never went in depth on the girl betraying her friends and just
Yeah, yeah,
completely
that
fucking
was
them over.
fucking despicable. I guess they did handle it kind of nice in the sense of like the girl secretly cared about her and was doing the Tamagotchi thing. Um, like even though she was outwardly angry at her and trying to exile her, but she was like, "Oh, you know what? I just did care for your Tamagotchi, so we're all good now." Like I was like, "Okay, that's kind of stupid, but it does represent, secretly you care about the people, even if you outwardly are not ready to forgive them and stuff like that."
Damn, Rory's having an
Yeah,
existential
no.
crisis in chat. He doesn't know why he exists. To tell me that Dungeons and Dragons is shit. Yeah, that's your whole purpose in life, Rory. It's unfortunate, really. Oh God, he's starting a list. Fuck.
Hey,
Uh, the one, I don't care. Fair enough, Rory. But yeah, I
I
think
think my favorite moment was probably the under the bed kind of drawings and like that cringe, and then yeah, I guess that was probably the best moment, and the aunties like squatting up was kind of cute too.
okay. So I guess we'll go into the wrap up questions then, because we're already starting to get there. So
Yeah, go for it.
favorite character in the film, Candor.
Tyler, 100%
That's fair.
easy,
A very good character. I
and
enjoyed him
then
as well.
maybe the brace, and then maybe like the barbarian girl, second runner
the
up.
the feral girl. Uh,
Yeah.
For me, hot take.
What about yourself?
I think it's Mei. I in most movies I glom onto a character that's not the main character and I give them the nod, but I think Mei was a very solid main character. I enjoyed watching her antics throughout the film. I was a fan, so I'll give the nod to Mei. As for favorite scene, I think my favorite scene is definitely a hard choice because there were a lot of good moments in this film. that I could give the nod to. I guess the well, no, because there's too much weird twerking in that scene. I was gonna give it to the kaiju fight, but that one got a little weird. I guess the like
That was
hustle.
a good. It was a good animation and things. Go on.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it was the hustling the panda montage with like the music video and like the collecting of the money and the like quick covert switch from panda to mathletes. I thought that was fun to watch. I think that scene was probably my favorite sequence in the film. What about you, Kandor?
I can respect that. Favorite sequence, probably the opening. No, I'm kidding. Probably
Oh,
the, yeah, like the drawing, the dirty drawing, quote unquote, animation, and then like the shame of everyone laughing at her and everything, and like her mom has no idea
so
what's
much
going on, but is
secondhand
so confident.
embarrassment. It's so
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah. I'm really bad at secondhand embarrassment, like in most things. Like I'll like cover my eyes sometimes, but here I thought it was deserved because this bitch should have risen up and said, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" way earlier. So she deserved the punishment of that embarrassment. So
Yeah,
I was fine with it.
she should have put more effort into being like, "Hey, stop. This isn't true. No.
Hmm.
Don't do this. You'll ruin my life entirely."
Yeah.
But okay, so I guess
What? Yeah, I guess I was gonna say, who's your favorite of the friend group
well, I mean, uh
outside of the main character?
probably the braces girl. I mean, the other two had their
Yeah.
like funny moments, but I think the braces girl was the biggest of a character out of those four.
You know what? Actually, someone on Twitter informed me that being set in 2002, the Indian girl being obsessed with the Twilight stand-in is inaccurate because Twilight wasn't published yet.
Oh shit.
I think it was just like a stand-in for Harry Potter, but they wanted it to be more like, middle school girl, edgy, trying to be more grown up and whatever, because Harry Potter is for kid stuff, I guess. But yeah, it did mess with the chronology.
Yeah, that's a epic movie fail Easter egg. Fun fact.
Hmm.
But a rate to film out of 10. So I know, to preface this, I'm usually very generous with this. Like, I'm bad at rating films
Hmm.
low. And
Fair enough.
for Turning Red, I think I'm going to give it a
Is that
solid.
wait? Actually, wait.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, prior to your rating, with that in mind, would you say like your 9 out of 10 would be most people's like 8 out of 10, and your 7 out of 10 would be most people's six? Or can we give a framework there prior to your rating, or is it not that?
I'd say that's probably accurate in a lot of cases. Not always, though.
Hmm. No rhyme or reason.
No, yeah, no rhyme or reason. It's just it's why I'm terrible at rating things out of 10, and I generally avoid it. But for my movie podcast in particular, it kind of just became a thing I started doing. Um,
You gotta do it. Go for it.
I'll give it an 8. I had a good time. It's not some insane 10 out of 10 masterpiece by any means, but it was a fun Pixar
So
film.
what
I
does
had a
this?
really good time. 8 out of 10.
How does that reflect on your rating of Soul then?
Soul is probably not too far behind. Like, it might also be an 8, maybe a 7.5, but it's probably
Uh,
also an 8.
If it was in the same rating, then that's fair enough. But yeah, for me, this would be a 6 out of 10. Although I was going in expecting a 4 or below, so definitely exceeds expectations. Was a fun film, and if I was a girl, probably it would be at least maybe a 7 out of 10. I blanketly just saying that with no actual knowledge,
How did your,
but it was
so,
accessible.
how did your girlfriend feel about the film?
She also was not impressed with it, but it
Oh,
was like for
okay.
both of us, it's cool to see Toronto depicted, like all that multicultural stuff. Like I'm sure a lot of like cringe people will be like, "Oh, why are they shoehorning all this like multiculturalism? Oh, why does this girl have a hijab?" Toronto is like one of the most multicultural, if not the behind New York City, like cities in the world. So like all that stuff is above board. She probably would have got razz for being Chinese a little bit more, but still, like, the
Oh,
diversity was not forced and is very accurate. Especially this is post SARS, so I think they were talking about, some things. I think they made some vague allusion to SARS because SARS was big in, Toronto, at the time of 2002, 2001 or something like that, so
what
I
is
was
SARS
surprised they
again?
didn't bring that
Is that
more.
a sickness?
It's like yeah, it's a respiratory sickness. It's actually, COVID-19 is actually
Oh
SARS,
shit.
uh, COVID-2 or something like that. So it's like the second big thing. It's basically essentially very similar to COVID. It's the virus, respiratory, lots of ICU kind of stuff. So it's interesting that they didn't bring that to the foreground, and I'm glad they didn't because they could have just ham-fisted tried to
Yeah,
bring
they
like,
could have
hey,
just
it's relatable to you
ham-fisted
guys too.
COVID propaganda
Yeah,
into it, and they didn't, thankfully.
exactly.
The moment
But
somebody
I
wears a
I think it
mask in
was
a Pixar movie, I think it's over. I think I just end it.
it's game over. Yeah, no, it was nice to see our city represented, and I was trying to probe her to give more points for this podcast, but it didn't seem like she especially resonated with the kind of Chinese background, just because it is especially their family owns a temple, all this kind of stuff, so it's very ingrained versus just a casual kind of Chinese person in Toronto that's still in touch with their culture. But it was nice to see the city out. It was nice to see that era because that's kind of when I grew up around that same time. Like I was a little bit younger than this person. I don't think like grade 7 people, grade 8 people had cell phones back in that era. I think that was like mid 2000s onwards where they started giving people that weren't kind of teenagers or were barely teenagers the cell phones. But minor gripe, minor gripe.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know this movie took place in 2002, so it wasn't really in your face with a time period.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, yeah, this is a
Yeah.
movie, and it takes place in a sort of nebulous time. Even though
Yeah.
I
It
guess
was
they do
kind of
say the
timeless
year
with
straight
that.
up. I just didn't hear it.
Well, they do the what really made me conscious of it was in the when they were doing the videotapes. First off, it's on a home video thing and not like a cell phone, right? And but then in the corner it says like 2002, like the date and all that kind of stuff. So that's when I
Oh
was like, oh,
shit.
okay, that made
Okay.
more sense. And you'll notice like there isn't a lot of TikTok, YouTube talk like there would be in other settings of the modern time. And the actually Easter egg is the Sky Dome where they have the big concert that was is basically our biggest arena and is right beside the CN Tower, which is our biggest kind of claim to fame, and it's where we host like the a lot of the baseball games, stuff like that. But it's now called the Rogers Center because of a telecommunications company, but back then it was called the Sky Dome. So even calling it the Sky Dome ages it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Certainly. Um. So, anything else about Turning Red we want to discuss before I start wrapping things up here?
Um, I don't know. How do you think being a man affects your identification or appreciation of this movie?
I think I could kind of just like put myself in like my middle school shoes and like what I perceived of young teenage girls at that time, and sort of just secondhand relate to it. You know what I mean? Because like I'm young enough that I do like remember my interactions with girls in middle school and like still remember like their personalities and the way that they would conduct themselves. And I could sort of secondhand relate and be like, oh yeah, I've been around this before. This is very real, based on what I know. So I don't think
Mm,
being a man was too much of a big deal when it comes to relating to the movie. I of course didn't directly relate to it, but I could definitely put myself in a place where I could feel a sort of relation to it.
fair enough. And yeah, I think like the themes of like friendship, female or male, were there. It was cute. I think one thing when the guy's like, "Oh, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with you, May?" And she's like, "Nothing's wrong with you. Oh, like get the fuck out of here." And she's like, "Wait, what's wrong? What's actually wrong with you?" And stuff like that. Like that kind of protection
Yeah,
from outsiders was a cute moment too.
yeah, certainly.
But I think yeah, the main themes of like puberty and stuff. Yeah, sure. Maybe if you're like getting your period, you'd most rather like talk to your mom than your dad and stuff like that. And the mom daughter relationship is core here, which I can't relate to. But overall, things are pretty generalizable, especially with those analogies to like mental illness or stress and kind of breaking under your parents' shadow for goody two shoes kids, especially because if you're not necessarily getting the best grades and you're not doing going across the plan that your parents have illustrated for you, then it would be less of a big deal. But for those nerdy kids, then I can imagine the big coming of age moment the first time you say no to your mom, which happens in this movie.
Yeah, she goes off on her mom in the kaiju scene. She starts like
Yeah,
jumping around, switching between panda and girl, and like talking shit, and it was a really powerful scene.
and now in Riley, this has been something that was brought up in the monkey server, and it wasn't wrong. They said they defeated the mom in the movie by twerking at her. Can we disagree with this?
That is true.
Yeah, that is a irrefutable fact.
They do, in fact. She's just like,
It's
yeah,
it is
I'm
what it
cool
is.
now. Look at my fucking trendy dance moves. And the mother's just like horrified, and
Yeah,
I think that's really funny.
and I also think it's quite funny that they have like the tiger mom Asian parent being like, "Oh, what are you listening to this filth?" And it's like boy band music, which is like
Like
just
the most
goes to show
tame
every
shit.
generation's music.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's
These
about
Jonas Brothers are no good for you.
the Jonas Brothers. Yeah, certainly. Um, but yeah, I guess that's about it. I do wanna mention. I know I did say last time that we were gonna talk about the Batman, and I probably still will at some
Oh
point.
shit.
I just can't afford a movie ticket right now. So this was a new movie that I could just watch on Disney Plus, because
Nice.
I'm stealing my mom's ex boyfriend's mother's Disney Plus.
Jeez. Why are you you can't dox that right now. You're gonna get removed from privileges.
Oh shit. Yeah, my mom's ex-boyfriend's mother listens to this
He's listening right
podcast.
now. I'm pretty sure that's I think that's Gel Streams in the chat, right?
Oh, why are they mod if that's the case? Oh no.
Well, you have a very close relationship with your family, and I respect it.
Of course. But yeah, no, we'll probably talk about the Batman. I don't know about next time. My financials are kind of fucked right now. I know, I know it's gonna be in theaters forever because it's a superhero movie, so it's gonna keep making money, and they're gonna leave it in the theaters for like
Mhm.
2 months. So I'll get around to the Batman. For now, I'm trying to think of what we might do next time. I don't know if Jack's still here. Maybe I can do like a Power Rangers review with him, uh, or
Mm.
or if not, I'll pick something. I'll figure it out. If you do want to
God,
hear,
I might want to. Sorry, I was just gonna say I might want to pay you for a role on Measly Few podcast in the near future.
okay, damn,
The, the price of an admission, whatever.
yeah, all right, but
Gotta feed the community forward. But go on.
of course. But I think that's about it for our show today. For the Riley Live Movie Review Podcast, I have been Riley,
And I have been random.
and we will see you all next time for another movie. Once
See you
I
later,
get
and
to where I
enjoy
can.
turning red.
For all the females in the audience, it's unfortunate that you have to turn red.
You know,
Uh
we as male feminists at the Riley Streams audience, we empathize and we will do everything to support you. If you have a Venmo, drop it.
oh.
We Riley has more than enough money going around to support
Yeah,
you
I'm a
queens.
rich
And
man.
yeah.
Drop your OnlyFans in chat. Oh.
Yeah. Wow, don't assume, Riley.
Yeah. All right.
Do you
Good.
think do you think May May would have an OnlyFans right now?
I hope not at age 13.
Well, no, no. I mean, 20 years after the fact, mid 30s sounds about right. You know, she gets the furry audience, she gets the Asian audience.
Oh shit, dog. Oh, that's all. She's gonna be number 1, bro. She's got it
Yeah,
cornered.
running up the
She's got the
numbers, running up the
furries.
numbers. Belle Delphine?
Oh shit. All right. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.
All right, and thank you for everybody who came out to the live stream here today. Um, we had more chats than last time. We had Rory in here, Jack, Jason. Uh, here's underscore John Cena showed up for like a second and then left. Uh, a big audience tonight. Yeah, I can't. We can't see him because he's not here anymore.
Yeah, exactly, precisely. I didn't even understand the second part yet, so I was just like, ah, hi, here's.
All right, folks. Thank you for listening. I'll see you for another live stream sometime soon. See you later. Bye.